Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is the Science Dispatch Podcast. My name is Cameron English. Excited to be here as always, joined by Chuck. Dr. Chuck Dinnerstein, Director of Medicine at the American Council on Science and Health. I was just telling Dr. Dinnerstein I just got back from vacation, which means I'm exhausted and my mouth doesn't work the way it should, nor does my brain. But anyways, Chuck, how are you? It's great to see you.
I'm fine, Cameroon. How are you?
See what he did there? He did the same thing back then. Okay, we have a helpful story. This is a story Chuck wrote just a few days ago. This is called Does Your Destiny Lie in Exercise, Genes, or Lifestyle? Chuck, let me read the summary and then break down the details for us. So you write, your doctor insists exercise is key to longevity. However, is your workout truly lengthening your lifespan or just reflecting your good genes and healthy habits? A study of Finnish twins examines genetics, lifestyle, and biomarkers to investigate whether physical activity alone is the key to a longer life. Spoiler alert, it isn't. Okay, do we even have to discuss the story, Chuck, if you just gave me the ending?
No. Let's get right to the conclusion, is everything in moderation. Moderation is the first to go, and that's it. Thank you very much for coming and listening today. We've covered it.
Very good, everyone. Follow us on social media. We're going to go have a beer now. Okay. In all seriousness, break down the study a little bit. Maybe define some terms. What exactly is longevity? Is it just the length of your life, or is it the quality of your life?
Well, in this instance, it's the length of your life. Health span is a different term that refers to the healthy period of your life. And ideally, what you'd like to do is you'd like to have your health span be exactly equal to your longevity, or maybe off by a day or two. Unfortunately, for many of us, our health span begins to deteriorate several years before our mortality. So they were interested basically in our lifespan in this case. And they made use of twins because that eliminated a lot of the genetic variation that would be present from looking at two different populations of people. And there's, of course, some good news and some bad news. So the good news, of course, is that if you participate in activities during your leisure, what they refer to as leisure time physical activity, you can increase your longevity by about 20%. So that's good. You should be active. The even better news for some of the couch potatoes amongst us is that activity does not have to be extreme sports. What they found is that, like many biologic phenomena, there's kind of a U-shaped Nike swope kind of a curve where your longevity is best served by moderate physical activity, and that either no physical activity or extreme physical activity does not seem to contribute very much to your overall longevity. So that's all the good news in there. The bad news, of course, is that when they factored in lifestyle factors, especially smoking, the effect of exercise was rapidly lost and went from 20% down to 70% if you were smoking. So that if you were to try and partition things out, our lifestyle outside of exercise has a significant impact upon our longevity in a similar manner to what we get with exercise. They did some testing on what are termed biologic clocks, which are a series of genes that people have identified that they're trying to use to quantify our biological age. And they found that very much with mortality, that the aging of these clocks also show that Nike swoop, and that overall the take-home message is that leisure time physical activity does improve your longevity, but the strength of that relationship is nowhere near as great as other lifestyle factors. So as we shorthanded it up at the beginning, eat well, sleep well, exercise, all in moderation, and you're going to get the best run you can for the money.
And nobody gets out alive, so try not to
as it turns out, even the tech bros, so far, no one is getting out alive.
Yeah, no brains in jars yet, no supercomputers to keep you alive. I don't know why anyone would want that, frankly, but that's a topic for another day. So talk about these epigenetic clocks they used. You described them, and maybe they did too, as biomarkers of aging. So how does that work? And then, of course, everything except for that metric, I think everything else in the study was self-reported. So maybe talk about how trustworthy these results are.
Well, I think the overall results are as trustworthy as any of our self-reported studies, and they come with the usual caveats and hand waves that we might have. But they go along with, I think, again, what we would consider the common sense consensus that if you lead a moderately healthy lifestyle, you will, get, as I said, the biggest bang for your buck. The biological clocks are another attempt to try and separate out our chronologic age from our biologic age. And the way they do it in this case is they use some previously validated, and this is in air quotes, clocks, but these clocks are really a set of genetic markers that they've looked at in people that are healthy and people that are less healthy in this age group, and seeing the differences there, and they formulated them through an algorithm into a clock that they can plug the numbers into and predict your biologic age. It's a variation on some of the discussions you see around telomere length, for instance. It's just it's a different clock. So within the validity of the clock, they predict biologic aging, but it's somewhat circular thinking because the clocks are defined based on biologic, what we think of as biologic aging. So we really have no specific measure that says that there's some kind of an internal clock and when it runs out you fall over, and that you can speed that clock up by being sick. We don't have that, but these are all early attempts at something that will ultimately be sold to the public as precision medicine.
I'm picking up on a little cynicism in your answer there. Sold to the public. You think this is maybe for now more hype than good medicine?
I don't think that they're hyping it yet. I don't think the supplement crew has latched on to them. I think some of the wellness gurus that will put you through an MR, a whole body MR and whole body CT, looking for any variations, and will do complete genomic analysis, will jump on the biologic clocks the same way some of them have jumped on telomere length, so that they have their own. I don't know whether it's a crystal ball or a Ouija board to prophesize your longevity. So there's some of that, but I think this is really an attempt by researchers to try and define what they mean by biological aging. I tend to think that there's an old quote. It says, all happy families are happy in the same way. All unhappy families are unhappy differently. And I saw that quote rebuilt the other day, is that all unhappy organs are different in different ways. So I think that when we talk about, say, diabetes, if you really think about that, that's an umbrella term that covers a range of biologic changes. For some people, it's insulin resistance. For some people, it's insulin absence. In the grossest measure, separating type 2 from type 1 diabetes, and they have very different biologic impacts over time. So that's why I think simply hanging our hat on a series of statistically important genes may be a step in the right direction, but I don't think it's a final answer.
To what extent does the relationship go in the opposite direction? I've seen with some research that, and back to your marketing point, these companies will say, we'll sell you a diet based on your DNA. And when some experts, some geneticists reviewed one of these marketing campaigns, they said, one of the problems here is that when you start to exercise, it can actually up or down regulate certain genetic factors that influence your propensity to store fat or to your blood sugar or whatever. And so this is a bill of goods because you are in effect changing the genetic influence with your behavior. To what extent is that going on here, do you think?
Oh, it's absolutely the case. I mean, when you think about human physiology, the thousands of various proteins interacting at any given moment in time, the belief that by correcting one or two or shifting one or two, you're going to have a net positive effect is more aspirational than correct. And even if these clocks pan out to be excellent measures, we haven't found any way to stop the clock or to turn it back. So at this point, I think that it remains an interesting area for scientific curiosity and investigation. And if we can use it moving forward, that would be nice. But I'm afraid that ultimately it's going to say, gee, you're really 10 years older than you appear. But how we're going to manage that is difficult. And I would also argue that among clinicians, there are rules of thumb, heuristics, that get at the same thing. This tries to add a veneer of greater science and precision to it. For instance, I think that among vascular surgeons, it would be fair to say that when we think of an individual, we add a year to their age for every year that they've had diabetes. So a 65-year-old that comes in and has had diabetes for 20 years, I think that physiologically they're acting much more like an 85-year-old. Okay, so is that number correct? No. But does having diabetes for 20 years mean your physiology is going to make you older? Your physiology is going to be older than your stated age? I think that's probably a good heuristic. These bioclocks are really an attempt to put more precision to something that I don't think we're going to get to for a while.
Very good. Well, I encourage everyone to read this story, and if you're really curious, read the article behind it. Unlike most places, we actually link you to the studies that we read about because we want you to learn stuff. So once again, the story is called Does Your Destiny Lie in Exercise, Genes, or Lifestyle? As usual, it sounds like it's a combination of all of those, all mixed together in different variables depending on who you are. So there you go. Nice, simple answer to a really complex question. We're happy to provide those every week. Go to our website. You can see this article and all the others we publish. It's acsh.org. Click the subscribe tab, punch in your email address. We'll send you the stories that we publish. The ones you read are usually the ones we talk about. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram now. We are on YouTube. And of course, we're on X. It's at ACSH.org. The YouTube is called Matter of Facts, hosted by our colleague Anna Delaski. She does great 30-second, 1-minute videos breaking down our content and just answering the web's most pressing science and health questions. So be sure to check those out. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.